time, the Turkish President Erdogan bringing up Kashmir once again. Turkish President Erdogan takes up the Kashmir issue during the UNGA address. He meddles in India's affairs, bid to internationalize Kashmir. Turkish President raises Kashmir at UN. He parrots the Pakistan line. He lines up to lecture India, Turkey turmoil ignored, and Erdogan rakes up Kashmir. He's a close ally of Pakistan, Turkey, and Erdogan said at the general debate, "We hope and pray that a fair and permanent peace and prosperity will be established in Kashmir." His comment comes less than a week after he met PM Modi on the sidelines of the SCO summit in Samarkand on Friday. Going across to my colleague Abhishek Jha. Abhishek, we've been seeing Turkey constantly comment on Kashmir from 2019. Back then they said, the residents of Kashmir are virtually under blockade. Now he says he hopes for a permanent peace in Kashmir. Perhaps you think he's toned down, his remarks, but he continues to rake up the issue. Of course, India's going to hit back and say Turkey has its own problems to look at.
Okay, of course, Shilpa, and see, as long as Kashmir is being raised at United Nations General Assembly by, in some context or the other, as an issue that still needs some solution, and it's an issue that is still not finding its peace and its closure, Indian diplomacy is not going to be comfortable with. And this which has come only 4 days after a bilateral meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Turkish President, is something that MEA wouldn't have expected, that Erdogan, after meeting Prime Minister Modi, would still be raking up the Kashmir issue and making India-Turkey relation as just a friendly relation, while continuing a brotherly relation between Turkey and Pakistan. This is not the first time that Erdogan has done, and this has, in fact, in 2019, when Erdogan was in Pakistan on a bilateral visit, he did raise this Kashmir issue, and the issue went so far that India had to summon Turkish ambassador in Delhi and lodged a protest on the remarks made by the Turkish president in Pakistan. So in that context, it has become really important that Turkey has continued to maintain Pakistan's narrative and try to raise wherever possible at the international forum. And this is something that clearly is not going to go down well with the Indian diplomacy.
Well, yes, indeed, Abhishek. Going across to our experts who still stay with us, Patikrit Pen and Sushant Sareen. Patikrit, that's true. Turkey never misses out on an opportunity to side with its ally Pakistan. But at a time like this, when it's facing record inflation, I think the highest in the world at 80%, is it really wise to rake up the Kashmir issue? But it is to be noted that their comments are more muted than they've been in the past. They've been continuously bringing it up at the UNGA since 2019. This time around, just saying that they hope for permanent peace. But what's the kind of pushback we can expect from India and the MEA?
Approach of Turkey for the last few years has been, to become the spokesperson of the Islamic world. That is how they are trying to project themselves. Yes, there is a huge mismatch between what Turkey projects itself and its ground reality in terms of huge inflation. I think one of the reasons what I've heard is, of his meetings in the SCO is about literally begging for wheat. But Turkey might also be doing these things to keep China in good humor, because every time they use, I don't think there is anything Turkey has to gain by merely supporting Pakistan. Of course, they would support for the region, for the purpose of Islam. But I think the primary purpose is to also keep China in good humor, because there are massive sanctions that have been imposed on Turkey by the Americans. So the only country which can actually rescue them, right now is perhaps Turkey, is China. But within the Islamic world also there are major tensions, because there are ethnic rivalry that the Turks face from the Arabs and the Persians, in the Iranians. So frankly speaking, Erdogan speaking on Kashmir or on other issues, or Erdogan's reputation in terms of supporting certain militant groups is all too well known. I think Indian government has its own way of dealing with these things, but beyond the point, I don't think too much importance is given to it, apart from certain diplomatic démarche and whatever else is being done. But these are the certain issues that you have to deal with. There is a sort of axis today between Pakistan, Malaysia, Turkey and China, and these, in a multipolar world, you would have these groupings coming up and putting pressure on areas where you have already leveraged your strength and have put things in your favor. So it's not that you always have everybody speaking in your favor in global forum. You would face certain resistance from certain quarters who are actually miffed by your progress, and you have to deal with it accordingly. But I don't think it would impact too much so far as India's stand on Kashmir and, the progress that has been done on issues of Article 370 and associated things.
Well, yes, indeed, but it is going to, definitely rake up the fact. I'm going across to Sushant Sareen for that. Sushant, definitely, the fact that they do want to project themselves as the messiahs of the Islamic regions and of Muslims world over. Of course, people are going to ask, what about the Uyghur Muslims in China? Why are you not raising up that issue? That's definitely going to be a question that's going to be counterposed to Turkey.
Look, frankly, it's not just about the Uyghur Muslims, it's also about the Kurds. Erdogan has been somewhat of a barbarian when it comes to the Kurds. The fellow is an Islamofascist of the highest order. He has run his own economy into the ground. He's talking about freedom for the people in Kashmir. How about freedom for the Turks under his third-rate regime? But look, it's not just about, his waking up Kashmir. The fellow has actually been supporting terrorist groups in Kashmir. He has been supporting even the ISIS. He has a dubious character, and I don't know why the Prime Minister agreed to meet him. We should have shunned him like we shunned the Pakistanis. We have nothing to gain from Turkey. The Turks have a lot to gain from us. We have nothing to gain from these fellows, number one. Number two, Turkey has become an epicenter for the global propaganda which is being run, propaganda machinery, which is being run on Kashmir. You have these guys giving these scholarships and what have you to some of the Kashmiris, and then they are trained out there. They are trained to spread poison against India, and we are just watching it without retaliating. This kind of foreign policy, I am afraid I don't understand. That here is this man who's openly hostile to you, and you, despite that, you agree to meet him. And one of the reasons why the Turks wanted to meet us is because, they're trying to get entry into the SCO. And maybe India can actually block their entry into the SCO. So he's trying to do, trying to play the double game. But I think it's about time we call a stop to it. Countries which are not going to respect our core interests, then I think there needs to be some kind of retaliatory action which needs to be taken against them. Otherwise, you can keep playing this game of diplomacy till kingdom come. But it's not going to help you at all. So I think we need to give the Turks a shut-up call. We need to put them in their place. And if they think that they are still, the kind of invading powers who came and brutalized India, who massacred millions of people in India, then the Turks have another thought coming to them. It's a third-rate country and it should be treated like that.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And I want to thank all our guests, including my colleague Abhishek Jha, Patikrit Pen, and Sushant Sareen for their expert comments this morning. Okay.